Sweet. So how was it? Did you guys learn anything new today? Fantastic. I love clinch work. I love it. Dan Henderson is my coach for most of my career, and everything he does, he's a Greco Olympian. Everything is upper body. He's always messing with the head. He's always getting control. One of his big points is when you are clinching, make it yours. Never a weak underhook, never a weak overhook, never a weak plum. It's yours, it's yours. So when we're breaking it, I am taking control of it. It's really easy to get in the habit, especially because you're drilling with friends. You don't want to grab them too hard. Grab them too hard. Get used to it. When I'm getting that, I'm getting it. It's now mine. When I'm grabbing that chin, it is now mine. Make sure that when you're drilling it as if you want to use it in a fight. As if you're going to get paid $1,000 to land it on someone. They can always tap it, then you stop and you go again. My friends, they always, every time I go to the gym, they say, oh, you're going to go and choke your friends? Yeah, I'm going to go choke my friends today. Or you're going to go and punch your friends today? I said, yeah, I'm going to go punch my friends today. We're all friends in here, so they'll let you hurt them. 10-finger choke, it's a fun one. It hurts a lot. The prayer choke, if you're good at it, awesome. Get good at it. It's a really hard choke to get out of. And everything else, I love it too. Now, I like to take a moment in all of my seminars. I've been fighting for 80 fights. I'm either had 19 or 20 years of competition. I was a professional from pretty much, I think I was 6-1 as an amateur over like 3 months. I didn't even train before I started turning pro. They said they'd pay me if I fought here, and so all right, let's do it. Didn't know what the UFC was until I was probably 6-1 as a pro. I was just doing it because I got, gas money and $200, and it was great. So anyways, I've been everywhere. I've done everything there is to do in a sport. Any questions you guys have about anything? You want to know about Dana White? You want to know about UFC, Bellator, anything? Bjorn Rebney is probably above. Do any of you remember Bjorn? You maybe? He was the original owner of, or CEO of Bellator. Everyone hated him. Question, sir?
So, since you've been in the game for a long time, how has your training changed from when you started to now?
So at the beginning, like I said, I started fighting professional before I started training. Once they said, well, we'll give you $200 if you fight for us, I said, well, I should start training. So I started a gym. I was the head coach. I didn't know what I was doing. I was making it up. It was like Ninja Turtles and Jackie Chan was what I knew. And I knew jiu-jitsu doesn't work if they can't take you down. So everything I did was takedown defense because I couldn't learn jiu-jitsu. So at the beginning, it was all, we're gonna learn how to stop these takedowns. I had some wrestling experience, so I just did a lot of the little bit I knew of that. And then I also did constantly, at the beginning of my career, was just submission defense. Jiu-jitsu coaches hate it, but my defense to getting taken down is I give up my back and stand up. Everybody goes for the rear naked choke. At the beginning of my career, I defended the rear naked choke every day. That was my practice. All right, put it in. Like we would start seatbelt, all right, it's just locked in, let's see what happens. And we did it every day. We'd do 3 hours a day of just rear naked choke, triangle, Kimura, whatever defense. We would start in it, and that was my training. So now I've gotten really good at defending the rear naked choke. I am fine offering it to people because I know I can get out of it. But as I progressed in my career, I started learning jiu-jitsu. I started learning how important it was to not be terrified of getting taken down. And I've added jiu-jitsu is the biggest thing I've added. If you watch me fight, I'm a really ugly fighter. I've got a lot of bad habits that I made mine. And that, like, a good example is I'm a southpaw, but not naturally. I'm right-handed. I didn't know I was a southpaw for like 4 years of fighting. And then somebody goes, why do you stand that way? So I don't know what you're talking about. So that's backwards. You're right-handed. So I don't know, it's the way I stand. So I do a lot of things ugly, but I've tweaked it. I've made it my own. I've combined my ugly style with traditional style. And because I was kind of a blank slate when I started training, I've got similarities between Muay Thai, traditional kickboxing, traditional martial arts. I've got a lot of different techniques from a lot of different people. Because I'm right-handed, my lead leg is my strong leg. I can probably kick harder without a switch than I can with the switch. So I've just added everything to my game, and I completely learned jiu-jitsu. More questions?
In your opinion, what's the best form of cardio to replicate a fight? Is it long runs, short runs?
So I don't think running is a good way to do it. I know boxers that argue with me, and probably Muay Thai guys that argue with me. Sparring, I think, is the best thing, but you can't spar. You probably shouldn't spar all the time. I do, but at this point, I do something called Tabata rounds. let's say when I was in the UFC. So now I'm in karate combat, so it's all stand up. So now I can tweak it a little bit. But let's say when I was fighting full MMA, I would find out who I'm fighting. If I'm fighting a wrestler, if I'm fighting a stand-up guy, if I'm fighting kind of a mix, and then I'll do 3 rounds of 5 minutes, a new exercise every minute. And I would try and replicate the exercise as to be what I'm going to be going against. So if I'm fighting a wrestler, and my plan is I'm going to, stuff everything. I'm going to stop everything. I'm doing a lot of up and down stuff, a lot of ball slams, a lot. I'll usually in a 5-minute round, I'll have 2, maybe 3, if he's a high pressure fighter, of just straight cardio, spike my heart rate, and then 2 fight specific exercises. The ball slams I still do every practice because there's nothing that spikes my heart rate as high as that. We'd have a treadmill that get 30%, and I'd do a 30% sprint up that, which is like 3 miles an hour, and it would just kill you for a minute. So I like the Tabata rounds to simulate my fight as best I can. Now that I'm just striking, I make sure to spike my heart rate in 2 of the 3-minute because it's 3-minute rounds are fantastic. My entire career, 5-minute rounds, 3-minute rounds, like you get bored doing it. It's like, this is easy. I make sure I have at least 2 that spike my heart rate, 1 that works either my footwork or my hands, depending on who I'm fighting. Does that answer? Yes. The big goal is I want to test my recovery in that minute down. So I do 3 5-minute rounds. I spike it. I try and redline. And I'm always, if you see any videos of me, I'm always in a heart rate monitor, and it's just monitoring how high I can get it. I have such a low heart rate. I'm sitting at like 38 beats a minute when I wake up. It's like a really low. The bigger I get, the higher it's getting. So it's like 45. It's super low. When I'm sprinting, when I'm balls to walls, doing everything I can, it's hard for me to get my heart rate to like 175. Like it doesn't get there anymore, which is great. But I do everything I can to get it there. Then I have a minute down. I see how high I was. I breathe, I relax, I do what I'm going to do for a minute down, and I see how low I can get it. Come fight day, I try to be as close to a 30% recovery rate as I can get. 20% is acceptable, 30% is what I'm shooting for. Right now, I'm about 6 weeks away from my fight. I'm sitting around 20%. I'm hoping to spike it, get a far better recovery rate. That's my goal, is the recovery from as high as I can get it.
So when you say recovery rate, are you talking about the heart rate in between rounds or your resting heart rate?
The end of my heart rate, let's say I get to 175. I get to 175 at the end of my ball slams. I now have a minute of relaxing. Like in a fight, you have that minute down where they give you water, you sit on a stool. That minute down, I'm just relaxing. 1 big breath, 2 deep breaths out. Do it twice, then I take a sip of water, just breathing. I try and see before the next bell rings, how low I can get my heart rate. So if I can get it to like 125, that's pretty good. If I can get it to 112, which I've done more than once, that's awesome. And then it's you walking around too and you feel like you've not done anything, like you've hardly warmed up. So that's my big goal, is I'm trying to train my heart rate, my recovery rate, more than I'm trying to train anything else. More questions? Yes, sir.
You got any like insider secrets or personal favorites as far as for like injuries or like soreness or dealing with pain management, stuff like that as you've gotten older?
Yeah, ignore it until you hurt something else worse. Yeah, that's. As far as pain management goes, for most of my career, a healthy diet of vitamin A, Advil, has been a big. Honestly, what you eat helps a ton. I tell anyone that's trying to lose weight, trying to just be more healthy, don't eat bread. Bread does nothing for you. And bread is not what bread should be. Bread used to be something called Elkhorn. That was what bread was. The problem was it was too small. It didn't have enough enough food to it to be profitable. So they changed it. Now wheat is taller and thinner. Well, it was taller and thinner, and so it died. So they mutated again, so now it's taller and thicker. So you get a lot more. But bread is no longer what bread once was. So if you eliminate bread, that'll take care of like a lot of your problems. I own a food truck. I'm a pizza food truck. I have not eliminated bread. I love bread. Everyone does. But I swear, if you ever cut bread out, it is 2 weeks if you are addicted. You can think of nothing more than eating more bread. And at the end of 2 weeks, you're fine. Like at the end of 2 weeks, you take it or leave. But it is a solid 2 weeks of I want nothing more in my life than a slice of bread. I mean, we are addicted to it big time. By the way, I'm the food fight truck. If you're ever in and want a pizza. Oh yeah, there's donuts. It's probably the healthy bread. It's probably Elkhorn, right? Yes, sir.
Is there a style that you love fighting against and a style that you hate fighting against?
I like fighting against wrestlers because the first part of my career was all takedown defense. I've got really good takedown defense. Now that I've been fighting karate combat for 3 years, my takedown defense has probably gotten soft because nobody takes me down anymore. It's actually fun. Now I'm in karate combat. I'm the best wrestler in karate combat, which is huge advantage. So I love fighting wrestlers because I know they're going to shoot and I can stuff the shot. People I don't like fighting is the same people nobody likes fighting. You get a good traditional martial artist, it drives me nuts. You're just not used to sparring them. I know Muay Thai has been proven in the UFC to be one of the most dominant styles of fighting, and they have the 8 limbs as opposed to the 4 or boxing with the 2. But everybody's used to training with Muay Thai guys. You are used to doing all right, we're doing kickboxing rounds, we're doing Muay Thai rounds. Everybody's used to it. Nobody's used to sparring the guy that bounces more. That relies on speed more than power. So if I get somebody who's bouncing around in front of me, I hate it. It is immediate. My brain goes, all right, I'm wrestling him. Like, all right, I'm going to find a way to push him against the cage and slow him down because they start doing that. They have different angles that I'm not used to seeing. And if I'm fighting Wonder Boy Thompson, it's hard to find somebody that can replicate that. It's one of the big advantage of John Jones is just physically he's massive. He's got arms almost as long as yours. And so it's hard to find someone to replicate that. It's one of his big advantages. Nobody can train against him because nobody has anyone that can touch him from that far away. If ever I fight him, I'm calling you, so keep training. So it's the traditional martial arts are the ones that I've got to continue figuring out. Mm-hmm.
So when you talked about Tabata, how many days a week do you do that to get adequate recovery?
So right now I'm 6 weeks out. Let's say I had an 8-week camp, which is, I don't know why it became the number, but traditionally you have 8 weeks for a fight camp. You'll never have 8 weeks. It's not going to happen, but let's say you have 8. First 4 weeks, I'm still lifting as heavy as I can. I'm going to condition once or twice a week. At 4 weeks, I'm doing very little heavy lifting, a lot more circuit training. Like I'm just lifting not to lose muscle, and I'm going heavy conditioning 2 to 3 times a week. So the first 4 is 1 or 2. Like I think I did 2 this last week, and I'm going to do 2 this next week. Then the week after that, I'm going to bump it up. I'm going to be doing at least 3 a week.
Do you mix in any steady state, or are you mostly?
What's that?
Do you mix in any steady state cardio, or are you mostly doing that Tabata high intensity intervals?
I'm doing almost everything high intensity. Now, if I have 5 rounds, I'll do the ball slam, the 30-degree incline, so first round ball slam, second or third round the steep incline, and then third round the Airdyne bike. Airdyne bike's miserable. God, yeah, but it's great conditioning. The other 2, I'll do something the battle ropes. They look cool. They're not a huge cardio thing, but they work the arms. Keep my heart elevated. Maybe I've got a good little striking thing where I'll hold the dumbbells and I'll turn sideways with it and I'll punch down. Again, it's not a huge cardio thing, but it works the arms. So I'll have the 2 of the 5 minutes of it's less spiking and more just making sure my hands don't drop as I'm punching. Does that answer the question? I like to, during my fights particularly, so I wear my heart rate monitor, but even more important than that, it's a calorie counter. It tells me how many calories I burnt in that workout. I know at this point, if I'm going to do 45, every morning of the week, I wake up, I do 45 minutes on an elliptical or a treadmill. Treadmill is usually slower, but it's uphill, and I do 45 minutes every day. I know if I'm at 653, I did a good job. It's funny. It's like 653 is my magic number of where I did a good job. Then I go do jiu-jitsu. I try and get over 1,000 calories every morning. If in the course of a day I get to 2,000 calories burned, I feel like garbage tomorrow. Like I can't eat enough or recover enough for tomorrow. So I try and keep my calorie burn around 1,700 a day. I just know that is where I will be comfortable to train hard again tomorrow. And depending on how much I monitor what I'm eating. I like the app, MyFitnessPal. I just plug in everything I eat throughout the day. It'll tell me how many calories I've eaten, and I know where my weight's gonna be, or if I eat too much or too little. But yeah, I play with my calories to determine exactly how much I'm gonna do tomorrow.
The cage compared to the pit, like how is the spatial awareness for you? Like, does it change drastically? Like,
Yes. So my entire career was the rise and fall of my career in the UFC was I would play with that cage. Takedown defense, they can't take me down on that cage. I was good on that cage. So the bell rang and immediately I'd back up and let's see what we're gonna do. What people figured out about me is like, oh, he's against the cage. If I just blitz him, he can't back up any further. And I didn't change fast enough before I left the UFC. Karate Combat has the pit. I cannot back up. If I back up, that pit is the end of you. It is. If he doesn't have to blitz, he just has to come forward. I will fall immediately, and then it's lights out. Then it is hard. It's been a big advantage for me because now I pushing me forward is changing the way I fight. If you watch any of my Karate Combat fights, you'll still see the hint of me backing up. Is all right. I got to go forwards. I can't do it. I've been pushing forward since Karate Combat started now. I love that pit. It is so much fun.
I have one more question. I watch a lot of Chael Sonnen. He said Dan Henderson was the last person to practice and the first person to leave. That can't be true, right?
Yeah. Dan Henderson is going to watch this. I trained with Dan Henderson years after Chael trained with him. When I trained with Dan was hardworking. He was not the first and last, though. I was. Good question, sir.
How much of your training should be spent towards things that you're bad at?
Depends on who you're fighting. I'm really good at the clinch, so I know I can always rely on that to happen. I know I'm not as good at jiu-jitsu because it was always my backup plan was jiu-jitsu. So now that I'm not allowed to do jiu-jitsu in Karate Combat, I do more jiu-jitsu than I've ever done in my life. There are a few things that'll make you as athletic as jiu-jitsu. Wrestling is one of those, and like gymnastics is the other, but I'm not gonna do gymnastics and I'm too old for wrestling. So it's jiu-jitsu is my plan. You just always want to get better. I don't want to look at it as I'm the greatest at clinch because I know when I spar, 75-year-old Dan Henderson, his clinch is still gonna beat mine. Because he has done it for as long as I've done it, he's done it. He taught me what he knows and I'm still trying to master it. So I'm never looking at it as I'm good at this. It's I want to get better at this. I'm going to try and figure out different ways of doing this. Boxing, I've always been more of a boxing style in my MMA fights, but I've started doing like actual boxing and they've beaten the brakes off me. It is like completely different when I'm boxing an MMA guy versus boxing a boxer. It just, my brain is switching on it. So my boxing is getting far better now because I'm working with boxers. So I'm doing it always. I'm just, depending on who I'm going to fight and what I want to do, it'll change a little bit as to what I'm spending more time on. Question? Yes, sir.
What's the biggest mistake or biggest misconception you see that amateurs have or do specifically inside the gym?
The cardio. Yeah, they don't do cardio. And they'll think I'm in. By the way, I've got a strict rule: never say the phrase "I'm in the best shape of my life." Don't ever say it because you will lose your fight. It's just a thing. It's science. But cardio, they all think they have good cardio and they don't. Especially going into your first fight, you could have done everything absolutely right. You will get out there and panic. Your heart rate will spike. Your adrenaline, the lights, the people. You are going to gas by the end of the first round, guaranteed. So cardio is a big one. It's like you have to really focus on the cardio. When I first started training, I didn't know what I was doing, but I knew I could control my cardio. And so cardio and takedown defense were kind of what I did for the first 4 years of my career. And I just carried it through. Now I'm just push my cardio all day, every day.
We just survived the holidays and keeping weight was very hard. How did you do that?
What holidays? Christmas? It's like 4 months ago.
He's basically saying his holiday weight is still on. What do you recommend to lose it?
Help me!
It's Lent. It's the holiday season of Lent. For Lent, it's a lot of people don't do stuff. For Lent, I'm trying to eat 10,000 calories a day. All right, so what was your question?
It's very much around Christmas, Thanksgiving. What did you do? Because I assumed you were still training and preparing for a fight. How did you? Because you're a family guy, so
Hey, just sacrifices have to be made. Yeah, you just eat less. You have one serving at Thanksgiving. You focus on the turkey. Yeah, that's really it. You gotta make sacrifices. It's a rough career. I always tell my guys, like, if any of you guys are really good at baseball, go play baseball. It's a way better decision. Fighting's rough. It is something you have to live and breathe and be part of fighting. It's just got to be who you are. And you don't get your holidays like everyone else does. You just got to suck it up and have one serving and no gravy. Yeah, it's rough. And there were 3 years in a row I fought Thanksgiving weekend. Yeah, it was. I remember every year, like, oh man, again, and you just don't need anything. Yeah.
So going off the nutrition, in the UFC, what would you say is probably the average weight cut? How much weight?
Huge. So I fought at 185. I walked around 225. Yeah, and then I would diet down during camp to be about 205, and I have a 20-pound cut. Now that I'm in Karate Combat, I moved up to 205. I'm 245 right now, and then I'm gonna over the next week. Well, my next fight, I don't have to cut anything. I'm still gonna lose about 10, 15 pounds ish, just because it'll feel more real. But yeah, I big cuts, huge cuts.
So I know there's a diet phase of it, and there's actually the water cut, usually day or night
Yeah.
before. How much are they cutting that night? Is it 5, 10, 15? What's the big jump?
The most I've ever done in 24 hours is 22 pounds. Never again, not gonna do it again. However, if you make it once, your brain starts saying, well, what's 22 and a half? I could probably do that. We do some big cuts, not recommended. In Karate Combat, my biggest was 17, and I've decided I don't want to do 17 again. My last one was 14, and that was very doable. There's no easy cut, it all sucks, but yeah. What's that?
So what are you aiming for? Like night before, you're like, okay, I'm at the cut 10 pounds of good.
If 10 pounds, like I laugh at 10 pounds. 10 pounds is the easiest thing in the world. So 10 pounds, I will do that right. No, it's under, under 15 I'm happy with. Really happy with 10 pounds. 10 pounds is, 10 pounds is 3 baths. 10 pounds will take me about 2.5 hours to do. And so I've got that down. Problem with after 10 pounds, now it's no longer every half hour I lose this much. Now it's my body's running out of water to lose. Now it starts sucking. It starts being real rough.
You gotta realize that 10 pounds for him is not 10 pounds.
Yeah, you tell that to most of these little guys. These little guys cut freaking tons. Like, oh man, yeah, they get big. My buddy Jordan Winsky, he fights at 35. He usually cuts between 10 and 11 pounds within 24 hours of weigh-ins.
Starting at what? Like 2 months out, he's starting around.
2 months out, he's probably 160, 165-ish. So somewhere around there. It's just, I'll fight for free, but you're going to pay me a bunch to cut weight. Any more questions? Anything I can do for you? Yeah, you're just scratching your head? Yes, sir.
Who got you into combat sports?
Some guy said, hey, you want to fight? I said, okay. That was it. Yeah. No, that was it. I was a band nerd. I was a semi-professional trumpet player, so I never made any money, but people in the band did. I was really good at the trumpet. It just didn't pay, and then somebody eventually said, "We'll give you $200 to fight for us." I said, "I'm in." I set the trumpet down and never looked back. Any more?
If Dana White reached out to you and he said, "Hey, we got a contract for you. Do you want to come back to the UFC? Would you come back?" Or?
I would say, hey, well, how many zeros are on it? I mean, say, well, what are you gonna pay? The misconception is we're all martial artists. So no, we are prize fighters. It's like I will go where the prize is. Karate Combat has offered me a really good prize right now. If UFC can match it, I'm happy with Karate Combat. If UFC wants to double it, I'll be real happy with UFC. Yeah, you have to learn the martial arts, but it is a living for me. So I got to go where they're going to pay me. I tried to fight in Russia. Like they asked, hey, 2 weeks notice on Christmas Day, you got to fight our champion. I said, I'm in. They were offering a bunch. I said, I'm in. Let's do it. And then they just stopped getting back to me. I think I called their bluff, and they said, oh, yeah, we don't want to pay them. Yeah. It's probably good. Everything God's plan is better than mine. It's probably a real bad idea to take it, but you fight for a living, you fight for your family, and that's what you got to do. Yes, ma'am.
What's the best piece of advice, like related to martial arts, that's ever been given to you? Shut up, Dave.
The best piece of advice that has ever been given to me. shoot, it's probably more just nobody's ever. Dan Henderson doesn't talk much. He'll hit you. You'll figure it out through getting hit. That was really is like you've got to ignore everything that's going wrong in your life, and you've got to try and enjoy it as best you can. And that's the best advice I think I give everyone is wrestle in high school. Wrestle for as long as you can. Now, most people at the time they say they want to be a fighter, they're out of high school. I said, I'll bet you wish you wrestled. Because even if you didn't, you're all going to say it at some point. If you become a fighter, you say, I wish I would have wrestled more. I wrestled in college, and I wish I would have wrestled more. I wish I would have, because it would have made training, it would have made everything just a little bit easier. But a big one is enjoy it. Just find a way to enjoy everything, because there's a lot of things in this career, in this life that's rough, that's hurt, that's not good. You have to find a way to enjoy all the bad spots. Question?
The UFC easy to work with?
Yeah, UFC was great. Yeah, UFC was anything I wanted, they'd take care of. They just handled it. And no other organization in the world is nearly as good as UFC at it. And I fought with most of the big ones. UFC is hands and feet are way better than everything else. As far as the back end, Karate Combat is wonderful. They just don't have the budget the UFC has. I mean, the UFC said, hey, we got hundreds of $1 million extra. Let's build the PI, and one in Mexico and one in China. So why not? Because it'll help the fighters. Mm-hmm.
So Dana has said if you get hurt training, call them and they'll get it figured out.
Yeah.
I've also heard fighters say that they have gone into fights injured because that's the only way that the UFC will cover them is if they get injured in a fight. So which is true?
If you get hurt in practice, which I've been hurt when I was supposed to fight Shogun, I broke my hand. It's just right there, and it was like broken to the point I couldn't ignore. I've been hurt a lot of times where I just ignore it. My hand was useless. They had to put staples in or pins in and everything. They covered it. They covered it fine. But I believe there's supposed to be I think it's $1,500 or $2,500 deductible before the UFC covers it. When I broke my jaw, when I broke my hand, when I did whatever, they just covered it. But I think there's supposed to be a deductible. In a fight, they cover everything, no deductible at all. And if I die in the ring, my wife gets $250,000. So that was something too.
It's not a great plan to go into a fight.
Yeah. Yeah, it was only towards the end of my career in the UFC where we would have made more money with me not dying. Anything else for you? Hey, I'll bring in, I should have brought it in already. I started an online school, SKOOL, and it's free. If you guys want to sign up, it's just a lot of young athletes that I get to work with from the computer. Any questions, anything you want to know, I show you workouts. I give you a whole program, and like I said, it's for free. I'll bring in the QR code so you can scan it if you'd like to see it. But I really do appreciate you guys bringing me in. I thank you for working with me. I look forward to watching you guys fight around the country, around the region, around the world. It's really been a pleasure getting to work with you guys. Thank you. Oh, absolutely.
First, we want to thank Sam for coming. I mean, honestly.
Oh,
The fact that
absolutely.
he's local, we appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely. Truly my pleasure. Thank you.
If you go up to Nashville and you go to like the IKF, the PMTs and stuff like that, Sam's kind of bouncing around. And the cool thing about Sam is he's super approachable. Like, I've never seen him not smile when people say hi. He takes pictures like he's a professional model, like his wife as well. So you guys talk to him when you're out and about, remind him where you saw him, and we know you're busy. We know you got your family. We know you got.
No, I love it. I always say some days nobody's gonna want to take a picture with me. That day ain't today.
Yeah, no,
so I will take a picture with anyone that
We're
wants
all
to.
gonna take pictures with him here in a bit. We do want to give you these shirts.
Oh, I really appreciate that. Thank you.
You're a big boy like us, so.
Yeah. Oh, it's the nice material too. That's perfect.
We don't cheat
Oh,
around here, man.
Yeah, it's beautiful. Oh, well, thank you so much. I really appreciate that. No, thank you. That's great.
So real quick, so he's gonna get his QR code. We're gonna do a big group photo here in a minute. Do you have to leave right away?
No.
Are you good? Okay.
No, I want to
So
spar with anyone who wants to
We're
spar.
gonna do some sparring here in a minute, do an open gym. So we got to get through ranks really fast. We're gonna hit them really quick. It's gonna be a lot different than normal. I'm not gonna say a lot of nice things about you, which I don't anyways. But I will say absolutely less. Brian's got a couple to do real quick. I'm gonna go ahead and knock mine out real fast, and then we're gonna get into open sparring, open rounds. He's gonna get some rounds with you guys too. So as we're waiting, if you want to get your gear on and start kind of do that, go ahead and do it. You just spawn like that, and then we'll knock it out real fast. But stay where you're at. We're not gonna line up. Just stay where you're at. Chris, get the people I asked you to get for me. Get them bunched up for me. And then Brian will do his real quick. And then if you want to get that stuff, we'll get wrapped up.
Oh yeah, you want to get a photo first before anyone dips out?
I wanted to do let's do the ranks.
Okay, no, that's fine. Cool. Yeah, sweet.